In this video, I want to share with you how do I think the world looks like when AI takes over the world. Obviously, this is just one path where humanity could end up, but I want to share with you a theory of how we could potentially still create value in a world where maybe everything is automated, right? So, there's no reason to believe that perhaps AI is going to become very good at doing your taxes. So maybe we can automate, uh, doing your taxes. Maybe we can automate healthcare diagnosis. Maybe we can automate writing books and creating content in blog posts and creating movies and like building video games. So there could be potentially a world where like robots like the Tesla Optimus or technologies like ChatGPT to take over a lot of the tasks that we do today as humans in civilization. And the question is, okay, so what is there a future for us as humans, and what type of work is there going to be available, and is there anything to build at all or to sell or to work on if we assume that AI takes over the world? And again, I'm not suggesting that AI takes over the world. I want to share on this video what's one potential path that would show us what would the future of work look like. Yeah, so to talk about this, I wanna introduce this book. It's called Animal Tool Behavior. It was written by Shoemaker, Wallop, and Beck on around, I think the first edition was somewhere in 1991. So it's an old book, but what is super interesting about this book is that it explains what different species do in relation with tools. So in this particular picture, you can see a crow that has a twig and is gonna use the twig for something. I'm not an expert on crows, but you can think of bird nests where like a bird might collect a bunch of twigs and then build a nest for their offspring, for protection, or a beaver building structure to protect them from the element and the like. So it is true that animals and different species do use tools for different reasons, right? And the other example I think that the book would mention is I generated a few images here with HAL9. By the way, you can go hal9.com/app/vlogs and generate some of these ones. And I want to generate an image of a crab using a soda can, which I've seen some real pictures about this around, but I wanted to just generate this with AI. So again, like if you're a hermit crab or whichever particular type of crab does this, you might decide to use someone else's shell, right? And like borrow it and make it your own. And in some cases, they also been seen to use like other things, right, that are not necessarily, necessarily found in nature. But the point here is that you can think of a hermit crab changing shells or the like as a way of using tools in a very, very simple manner, right? It's just a similar example as a bird building a nest with twigs, or a crab like changing shells and the like. There's examples in the animal kingdom where different types of animals use tools for different types of purposes. And obviously, one of the most common ones is, if we scroll down here, one of the illustrations on the book shows a monkey. I don't know if it's the San Diego Zoo or which one, but what we see here is it's a monkey using boxes to reach a goal. I don't know if on the top is a banana or an iPhone or whatever, but the goal here is to retrieve whatever is on the top. And a monkey can use some primitive tools like boxes. It has a dexterity close to humans to achieve its goal. And again, I'm not saying that monkeys are as smart as humans. I'm just saying that monkeys can use tools. And the interesting intuition here is that the tools that a crab uses are much less than the tools that some more advanced or smarter species uses, like a monkey, right? Where you expect them to put boxes together, right, and be able to like hit a can with a rock and potentially open it and eat the contents, right? So the researchers actually put this together in a chart on this book that it is very interesting, and I think we can use to project the future. But the first thing that we need to notice here is that if you make a chart of level of intelligence on the y-axis, starting with things like gastropods and the like, you can see them using a few tools. Maybe a bird, again, is just using a couple twigs to build their nest. But as the species become more and more complex, or let's say smart, they also tend to use more tools. And that's why a chimpanzee is at the very top, where they use a lot of tools that they can potentially use compared to like other species. Okay, so why are we talking about animals and tools? We're missing one row, first of all, that is humans. And then we want to think of how would AI fit into this. Now, if you don't believe this chart, the other way of thinking about this, you can think about it as looking at human civilization. And if you think about the type of tools that we were using, say, 10,000 years ago, there were much fewer, right? Like maybe you have a stick to hunt, and you have language. I think we should consider language a tool, and language was already like developing 10,000 years ago, and we were able to exchange information with our peers much more efficiently. So anyways, so what is worth mentioning is that the tools that we had 10,000 years ago were less than the tools that we had during the Industrial Revolution, where we figured the steam engine was a great way of harnessing power for manufacturing textiles, right, and the like. And if you look at the types of tools that we use today, we have computers, we have iPhones, we have driverless cars, we have solar panels, we have spaceships, we have airplanes, we have light and electricity, and like different types of clothing and cameras and etc. So I don't think it's a far-fetched assumption to assume that the more intelligent a species is, the more tools that species requires. Okay, so how does this fit into AI? Well, if we put AI in this chart and we assume that AI is going to be smarter than humans, chimpanzees, and everyone else, I think it's fair to assume that AI will also need a lot of tools. Way more tools, maybe 10x, maybe 100x, maybe 1000x, the number of tools that we use as on our civilization. And the question is, someone might say is like, well, but AI can create its own tools, right? And the counter argument is like, yes, that makes sense, but that is kind of like wasteful. So let me give you an example. There's a tool capable of searching the entire knowledge of the world called Google. That's a search engine, a web crawler. There's a few other ones like DuckDuckGo and Bing and the like. But think about just Google. It's a tool that it's able to query any document that is digitally accessible on the internet. An AI could potentially build a clone of Google, and just do the same thing. But the problem is like there's a resource constraint of why would you do that? I'm not sure how many billions of dollars went into building Google. I would say that probably hundreds of billions, maybe even $1 trillion. So there's a resource constraint where it doesn't make sense for an AI to build their own Google. It makes sense for the AI if they need to search, one random, like publication, right, from my book, right? Who cares about my book? Maybe that's not even indexed, right? Or my blog, right? The like. like you would use Google to like search that, find the reference and the like. It makes sense to use tools to answer questions and the like without having to reveal that. Now, I do know that LLMs, got trained with all the knowledge in the world, so you could argue that maybe Google is not needed, but that's not really true. If you look at ChatGPT latest releases, right? Like if you ask who's the president of the United States, well, that was not, or if you ask the question, who will be the president of the United States, that information was not on the crawl, right? Like, so it's missing, you're missing the newest information at the very least, and everything else that was under a paywall, proprietary and the like. So anyways, what I'm trying to argue is that Google as a tool makes sense to be reused by AI. It provides value that otherwise would be too expensive to reveal from scratch. And the same is true for simpler things. Let's just think of the Optimus robot, a can opener. AI could probably create their own can opener, but if you can use a can opener that already exists, it makes sense to reuse it. And that's one of the premises of why the Tesla Optimus robot looks like a human, not because humans are cool, even though we are, but mostly the entire world was designed for humans, or at least the world that sometimes we care about. The tooling that we have is designed for humans, so you want to be able to reuse all the tooling that exists. And the question is like, okay, what about the new tools out there, or can we improve tools with AI? And that's obviously the case. Google is gonna get improved with AI and probably already gets improved. But my point here is that the future of work might look as a way of selling products and services, or call it tooling, to AI. One example was Google, another one is a can opener. But those are the tools that we know that are needed today. There's still like many other tools, like maybe there's tens of thousands or even millions of tools that could have specifically as target AI, and might be really hard to imagine today, right? Like maybe there's a tool for like structuring all the prompts, right? I don't know. I mean, just making stuff up. Maybe there's, obviously we do need energy. We do need better chips. Maybe a chip should be built, kind of like Grok, Grok with a Q, not the Twitter one, to do inference faster, right? And every tool that we can think of that is purposed for AI is a potential business opportunity, a product and a service that can transform into the future of work. Now, that doesn't mean that AI is not going to help build those tools, but when we look at what we can do as humans, I believe that building tooling and infrastructure and maintaining that tooling and infrastructure could be potentially one of the venues that we use over the next few years to keep creating value. Now, there's another level to this, and I'll close with this because this deserves another video. But there's also the problem of resource constraints. And you can think of the world as having a lot of resources, but most of the resources have already been allocated. If I create an AI, like the AI doesn't have citizenship, it just doesn't have rights to land or energy. So even, again, for a future video, but when you think of the resource constraints that exist today, it would make sense for AI systems to partner with humans, both from their limited expertise or vast expertise, depending on which angle you see it, and also the resources that civilization already controls, right? Like if we want to harness energy and I own a house, it would make sense for the AI to partner with me to put, to build solar panels for my house and co-own, or for me to lease that energy to the AI. And again, that's a separate video on the economics of resources. But the important part on this video is I want to highlight that in the future with AI, we're going to need a lot of new tools, either generated or co-generated with humans and the like. It also makes sense to evolve the current tools that we have to serve AI workflows and AI systems. And that's a huge potential of opportunity that I would expect in the future, like more products and services get delivered for AI, with AI in mind. Yeah, so let me know what you think on the comments. What type of products or services would an AI need, and what type of tools would make sense to build for AI, and potentially how to profit from that? Because I do think that it's going to be a huge opportunity to figure out like what are the building blocks that are needed to accelerate AI faster and build the tools that are missing to advance knowledge and civilization, the like. Right, thanks for watching, and see you in a future video.